What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. NBA DFS video. It is March 1st. It is Friday. We are back with a 7-game main slate. For whatever reason, DraftKings has no lineup late swaps. I don't know. I really don't know why they're doing this for this slate, but whatever. We're going to go through it. We're going to break it down just like we always do. If you are new to the channel, hopefully you've learned something. Hopefully you hit that like button. If you find any of this information helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. Helping out by hitting the ads every single day helps out the channel as well. We have giveaways, or we try to have a giveaway every single day. So, 2 ways to win. Like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment. If the video gets at least 50 likes and you leave a comment, you have a chance to win a weekly pass. That includes all the sports we offer. MLB, NASCAR, NBA, NFL, PGA. Thinking about bringing XFL back or whatever they call it now. UFL. Whatever they call it. If they do DFS, we will do that. If the video gets at least 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month. 125 likes, a chance to win a free year. Or if a video gets 150 or more likes, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass. The other way to do it, so you have 2 chances to win every single day. Like the video, be a subscriber and tell me who is going to score the most amount of DraftKings fantasy points on this Friday slate and how many fantasy points will they score. Whoever gets its closest without going over will win a free week. If you get it exactly correct, you will win a free year. So you can win multiple times every single day. We had... let's see, was it Wednesday's slate? I think Wednesday's slate, we had 4 people predict Luka. 3 of the 4 were over. 2 of the 4 were, one was over by 0.50, one was over by 0.75, and then we had someone win it by going under, just going under. So the same thing, if you think that you're going to win, get that comment in there for you guys. The other big news that I want to do, and I've never done this before, ever, we are giving away a discount code right now. If you go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, you go to FTA+, you sign up for the yearly pass. The yearly pass, using the promo code VIP Customer, all capital letters, VIP Customer, you will get a yearly pass. Instead of $199, you're going to get it for $99. On top of that, for $99, you're going to get an extra year on it. So $99 gets you 2-year pass. First 10 customers, first come, first serve, today. Use that promo code VIP Customer, all one word, all capital letters. Instead of $199 for 1 year, you get 2 years for $99. We're running a special. We're very excited. It's March. We're ready for baseball in less than a month now, and I want to get everyone in on it as we can. So, that being said, good luck to everyone if you use that promo code. So, looking at the slate, we have 7 games. So we don't have all the Vegas numbers and odds right now, but we're still going to do it. We're going to go through each game, and we're going to look at there. After that, we're going to build a lineup on DraftKings using the NBA points allowed by position tool. Again, this is an initial lineup. If you want to see some value, you want to see some projections, we have FTA+, but also, if you click the link in the description of this video, that is today's article, which will have 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks at each position. And we have some projections there as well. On the website, we have all this content, player trends, minutes played, allowed, fantasy points allowed by position, Vegas odds, which gets updated. We've got DFS top plays. So the top plays are both Fanduel and DraftKings via DVP and players with implied team totals. So you can check that out. We got our player projections, which if any player on the slate has at least 1 fantasy point projected, they are on there. We've got our chalk, we've got our cheat sheet, and we've got our NBA bets that are all included. So definitely check that out. So we look at Charlotte versus Philly. We do not have an over-under right now. We've got Embiid being out. We've got Ball, who I assume is probably just going to be already ruled out for this. Ruled out for Thursday. Pretty much going to be ruled out for Friday as well. So Tyrese Maxey is here. I've got questions. Why are you giving all these players? And that's it. This video is step 1. This is the top layer of an onion of all the information we have on the website. So while we're giving the plays that we like in this lineup, we're still trying to give you some value plays as well, and we're building a lineup out there. This is not the only tool to use. If this is all you need, that's great, but there are people out there that like to have all the tools. That is why they've signed up for FTA+. So big shout out to everyone who's signed up in the past couple of days. If you want to get in, if you only sign up for a month and you want to get in, use that promo code VIP customer. But we look at this. Miles Bridges with Ball being out, we know what we're going to expect out of him. I feel like this is going to be one of those lower scoring games, and that is why we don't have an over-under yet. So we're kind of looking at this. Not my favorite game to target, but there are some plays I will target. So looking at the other players, that kind of makes sense. Buddy Hield I would look at. Trey Mann I would look at a little bit with his price. It is going up there, so his price is starting to climb where I don't like it, but we'll still play with that. You got Nick Richards, that makes sense. Aubrey Jr. a little bit. Paul Reed has a good matchup. Now, if you've watched our videos, you know that Paul Reed is supposed to be the number one starter once Embiid went down. The minutes have fluctuated out of him, which is crazy. Then you've got like a Mo Bamba, who's down at 3,300. It was always him. He had some more minutes there, 20 fantasy points. But you don't know what you do not know what you're going to get for a center for Philly, and that's what's kind of stinks. Like KJ Martin is one. He's got the questionable tag. The minutes are there. The outage is there. But again, they all of the centers for Philly have a fantastic matchup. It just depends if they're all going to get a run, if they're going to get the minutes, what's going on. We don't know. So again, this is where I say check the projections about an hour or two before tip-off of any slate to see if maybe, the news came out for Mo Bamba. News came out, it's Paul Reed. Whatever the news is and whatever the projections are. Kyle Lowry, I don't mind him. The minutes are halfway, but he hasn't done a ton. So, like I said, might pick and choose out of this game, might pay up with Tyrese Maxey or Bridges or maybe Tobias Harris. Buddy Hield. But other than that, I'm not a huge fan of this game here. So we'll move on to Cleveland versus Detroit. So looking at Cleveland versus Detroit, we've got, let's see if my internet's been down bad so far. As of the opening, we've got Cleveland with a -7.5. So Cleveland, again, Detroit has been keeping in to games. They won the game, their last game out. We look at this. So if we just look, game logs, they ended up winning. They held Chicago to under 100, which is crazy. But yeah, so a lot of people, you will have the odds to take. If you're not sports betting, I still like plays here. Donovan Mitchell's obviously going to be the number one guy. He's 9,200. He's expensive. The minutes are there. The fantasy points are there. Kind of down in this one. Looking at this, but 29.25. So we look at 29.25, but that's not good. He played 44 minutes, so it's kind of bad. But again, I think he has a bounce back game. Playing Detroit, see if they've played Detroit. Yeah, they played him on the 31st, put up 72.5 against them. So Donovan Mitchell has already had success against them. I would look at him. Flip side of that, I mean, you can see that Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland. Like, Detroit's defense is not good. They had a good game against Chicago, but we look at their defense, not good. They all have fantastic matchups. Darius Garland at 6,800 might be a little expensive. I understand that. Dean Wade, is he going to get some minutes? The minutes aren't really there. So probably wouldn't go any lower. Maybe a little bit of James Wiseman here for tournaments, Quentin Grimes tournaments. But again, those are tournament plays only. Maybe a Coro and up Max Strus. We know that he had a game winner the other day, like 3/4 court game winner there. I would look at him. Thompson makes sense. I think a lot of people are going to focus on Cleveland players because they have a fantastic matchup. Take a little bit. This is the kind of the difference. When you know what the chalk is and you know that people are going to be on these players, that's where we zig when people zag and we take other players. So while everyone is probably going to be stacking up on Cleveland players, look at some Detroit players because they have been staying into games a lot longer than maybe you'd be used to. So Thompson makes sense to me. Jay Nivey makes sense. Jalen Duren. Like, Detroit players are where I'm going to go for the most part. Yes, I'll have some exposure to a Mobley, a Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, because Mitchell's coming off a really good game against them. Still, under 10K for Mitchell. I'm going to lock in Mitchell, and then I will look at some Detroit players. Dallas versus Boston. Boston open up as a 7.5-point favorite, which is kind of nuts. But we look at this, Luka. He's 12,100. He's hitting 70 fantasy points every single game, it seems like. You kind of know that's what he's 74, 87, 56, 77. Looking at this, seeing if he's played Boston this year. Played Boston back on 122, put 83 fantasy points up. He's got the money shot. Like, he is doing everything he can. He's getting 80 plus, 70 plus fantasy points. Had a really good game against them, but he's very, very expensive. But again, Jason Tatum has a fantastic matchup here. Might not be on Kyrie Irving as much as I would be Luka, though, obviously. Just looking at some of the players, Horford, Tim Hardaway Jr., Daniel Gafford, for little lower owned guys, I don't mind. That's probably as low as I would go. Maybe a little bit of Peyton Pritchard. Luke Cornett, maybe. We see the minutes just aren't there for Luke. Something will have to happen for Luke to be up there. So not a ton of value options that I'm finding right now. Again, like I say, check out the article. Check out the optimal line, or the cheat sheet that we have. And also in the description of this video is our Discord channel. In that Discord channel, about an hour before tip-off, I usually put out a Fanduel and DraftKings 3 or 4 core players, and then value plays there as well. So those are value plays that opened up between now, when the video is shot, and when the lineups lock go in there. About an hour between then. So a lot of news happens. A lot of core plays happen. People have been like, why don't you put these on the videos? Because those open up later. Those are in the Discord. Completely free if you get into the Discord. So check the links down below. So looking at this game, I don't love a ton of value options right now. Maybe some open up throughout the day, and we will definitely check those out. So then we got Golden State versus Toronto. We look at this. Golden State opened up as a 3-point favorite. So hopefully it stays a close game. Definitely check the Vegas numbers to see what happens. But obviously Scotty Barnes makes sense. He's been winning money for some people. Steph has been... This is what I'm scared of. Steph has been up and down. His price is still hovering right around 9,000. He's not even hitting 50 fantasy points lately. He has those huge games. This could be one of those games if the game stays close and his shot is absolutely on. I don't mind Steph. Emmanuel Quickly makes sense. RJ Barrett makes sense. But you guys aren't here for the top plays. You guys are here for other players that look a little bit. Gary Trent Jr. Game log, the minutes are there. He's getting 30-plus minutes. Fantasy point outages, they have not been good. If we look to see if he's played Golden State this year, played him on January 7th, 23.75, which is okay for 4,700. That's, yeah. Gary Trent, complete 100% tournament option. I'm okay with that. Cash, I would not trust him in cash. Chris Paul coming back, game log wise, the minutes have been 20 plus. He's still cheaper at 5,400. We look at that. His fantasy points 30, 24, 23. Well, he's played one game as against Washington. Not a fantastic team. They are very bad on defense. Put up 31.5 fantasy points in 22 minutes. He's the matchup here, middle of the pack Toronto defense against him. So it might not be too bad. So that would be one I would look at for a cheaper option, 5,400 on a team game that could stay close. You've got Grady Dick, like we talked about the other day. Against Dallas, he had a good matchup, played 19 minutes, only got 10.75 fantasy points, so he did not do well. Tournament option I'm okay with, but again, the minutes have been so inconsistent. It's very hard to look at him. And that's probably as low as I would go. Yeah, I probably would go no lower than Kelly Olynyk. Maybe Bruce Brown. Moody, possibly. The minutes, this is what I'm scared of. With Moses Moody, you don't know what the minutes you're going to get. Coming off 23 minutes against Washington, they were up big. That's probably the only way Moody gets into this game is if Golden State goes up double digits here. 23 minutes, 22.25 fantasy points. Still not enough for, people have asked about him before, and it would have to be a massive blowout. So I just, Vegas doesn't think it's going to be, so it's probably not going to be. Olenek is probably as low as I would go on the depth chart down here. He's got a good matchup here. The problem is, what are we going to get? We're going to get 18 minutes, we're going to get 23. Like, it's fluctuating. If it follows the same pattern, it could be 20-plus minutes in this matchup. Tournament-wise, Olenek, I'm okay with. Do not trust him anywhere else. Portland versus Memphis. Memphis is not good. But neither team is good. Memphis opens up as a 2.5-point favorite. Jaren Jackson, Simmons, we know. Brogdon being out. Scoot Henderson being out. Ayton being questionable. Okay? That opens up value. Depending on if they are actually out for these games. Let's see if Ayton is questionable. Right handspring Wednesday will be, day to day. So you don't know if he's going to play. If he plays, he should be good. But I just don't know if he's going to be a starter enough to what we're paying at 7,100. So if you are looking for some value, if he is out, you could kind of look up. You could see that maybe it's going to be Walker. Minutes really aren't there. 20 minutes. Reith, 13 minutes here. You're not trusting him. Could be anyone. So, again, I don't know. We'll kind of have to wait on some news with Ayton. But Aldama makes sense. GG Jackson makes sense. The minutes for Jackson, 23 to 27. We've seen 30 out of him. Few games in a row he's not done well. Let's see if he's played Memphis this year. He is not. If you look at his matchup, for 4,800, I'm okay with him. 18th overall position rank for defense, so I don't mind. He's only averaging 19.2 fantasy points per game on DraftKings. So, but Zaire Williams makes a tournament option I'd look at. Chris Murray, I would like him a little bit more. He's getting the minutes. That's crazy. He's getting 30-plus minutes in his last 3 games, but he's only at 9.25 or 26.25. So that's where I just don't know. I don't know what we're going to get out of him. At 4,400, if he, obviously it looks like a little fluke. He went 0 for 6 field goal. 0 for 6, and he didn't 0 for 5 and 3-pointers made. Has 0 points. His fantasy points came out of 3 rebounds, 2 assists. If he could get 8, 10 points, the fantasy points, we could work with that at 4,400. Again, we don't know if he's going to. And that's probably as low as I would go, would be Chris Murray in this matchup here. Then we got Indiana versus New Orleans. Every single time Indiana is in a game, it's a high over-under. It's usually 240, 250 over-under. We've got New Orleans being a 5.5-point favorite. There could be some points scored in this one. Halliburton let us down last time. Zion and Ingram, they have good matchups here. So Indiana has a high-paced offense or a high-paced game. They give up a ton of points. They score a ton of points. There's a ton of points to go around in this game. I want to get exposure to Williamson. I want to get exposure to Ingram. Pascal, I want to get exposure to. McCollum, like all these higher guys, yes. But I also want to get exposure to Herbert Jones, Trey Murphy, Nimhard, I'm looking at a little bit. Jordan Hawkins, the minutes haven't been there. This could be one where the minutes are there if they get up, if they do win. Jose Alvarado, minutes-wise. We're looking at some good games here. 3,700 is perfect. So Alvarado for a tournament GPP option, 3,700. Again, you're playing cash, playing tournaments. The minimum cash you're looking for, and by that I mean, and I need to put a chart out there, and this chart would be good for every single sport. But you're looking for about, minimum would be 7 times value. It fluctuates between 6 to 7.5. So let's just say you're looking at a base salary value of 7 times at every single position. You're probably not going to get it for everyone, but if you look at that, for 3,700 Jose, 25.9 fantasy points out of him. He hasn't hit that for a while. He did hit it once, but other than that, he has not hit it. This is a matchup where he could hit it. Let's just see if they've played Indiana this year and see if he did hit this value. And they may not have played Indiana. Okay, it doesn't look like they have. Or at least he has not. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I do like this matchup. Alvarado 3,700. You're not going to get 7,000 out of everybody. You're going to find some. Let's just say Alvarado goes off for 10 times value. So he gets 37 fantasy points. Hasn't done it all year, I don't think. Got 28 there. 26, 25. So he hasn't gone for 10 times, but this is a matchup that he possibly could. Not even saying he's going to start. We got to see what minutes he gets. But he would be one. Obi Toppin right down there at 3,700 would be another one. Najee Marshall. The minutes have been back-to-back 28-minute games. Just played Indiana his last game. 20 fantasy points. Okay? Well, then did I just completely miss Alvarado last game? No, he did not play. Okay, he hasn't played since the 23rd. So, if he plays in there, if he gets the minutes, we could definitely look at this. I just feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game. I want to get some exposure to probably Najee Marshall would be the lowest I'd go. 3,500 allows you to pay up for every single position. So let's just throw him in the lineup just now for fun, just to see what we can do. Then we move to the next and final game, Sacramento versus Minnesota. See if these numbers have moved at all right now. As of now, Minnesota 6.5-point spread, and these last two games aren't on there. So 6.5-point spread is what we're looking at for Minnesota. Let's take a look at all of the games. Sabonis obviously makes sense. He's always in there for me. I want some exposure to him. Anthony Edwards. We've been all over Anthony Edwards his last few games. He has not disappointed the last two. He's 8,800, which I'm completely okay with. I think he should be upwards of 10,000. So until Edwards gets 9,500 or more, I want some Anthony Edwards for sure. We look at that. Karl Anthony Towns. He was questionable the last couple of games, came back, 38.75. That's okay. Played 37. I mean, the minutes are there. We look at it. His matchup, it's not the best. If I'm paying over 8,000, Sabonis and Edwards is what I'd look at. Rudy Gobert is another one. Minutes-wise, we're looking at the minutes. Had a down game against Memphis, but I don't think he was 100% in that game. You want to go down Naz Reid. We used him the other night. 35.5 fantasy points, back-to-back 30-plus fantasy points. He absolutely killed it for us. I'll go back to the well with him as well. Kevin Huerter, we're looking at him at 4,900. Probably out. At 4,900, I'm probably off of him. Kyle Anderson is questionable. He was ruled out Wednesday due to a left knee sprain. If he plays, we could see 30 minutes here. It just depends if he's going to play. So news has not broke yet, so maybe we'll wait for some news there. But Harrison Barnes is the one that I'm always like, what are we going to get out of him? He's had a few vintage 2018 Harrison Barnes games, but then he's had 17, 15, 29.5, 12. Not the best. 4,200, it does open up some value other places. Probably off of him, though. I do like some Jaden McDaniels. Minutes have been there. Fantasy points I'm okay with his last game against Memphis. He's got a matchup here. I don't mind Jaden McDaniels in this matchup. He's got a good matchup there. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Minutes have been there. It's a couple of good games here at 3,900. I think he's another value option. We'll throw him in there for now, but we'll definitely mix and match there. So that Nickeil Walker or Alexander Walker's probably as low as I go in this game. Not a ton. I do love Sabonis, Edwards, Towns, Gobert, Keegan Murray a little bit. Probably a little bit expensive for Keegan Murray, but Naz Reid, Mike Conley, Marshall, or Alexander Walker would be what I'd look at in this game. So those are some of the player pool players that I like in all 7 games. Yes, there are some that are here, but we have a ton more on the website, FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. In the cheat sheet, we have a ton over there, so definitely check it out. Again, use promo code VIP Customer. Get 2 years for the price of half price off of just 1 year. We're doing 10 coupon codes, and that is it. But we are going to build a lineup. This is one tool of many tools we have on the site. We're building on DraftKings. Someone did ask yesterday why DraftKings and not FanDuel as well. It just, I don't know. I'd rather take FanDuel, but what I think I might do is start building a FanDuel lineup as a sample lineup and putting it in the article. So both FanDuel and DraftKings sample lineups in the article, which you will find down below. I don't know if the lineup will be out as soon as the lineup goes, or the article goes live, but that's what I'm going to do. So if you're still watching, and I'll put this in another video, I will put both a sample FanDuel and sample DraftKings lineup in the article, which you can find in the description below. So that being said, let's build a lineup real quick. So we look at everything we have. We go by position here. So Washington Wizards, they are not playing today, so we don't use them. Phoenix, they are not playing either. San Antonio's not playing. Utah's not playing, so that brings us to Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons are giving up an average of 53.9 fantasy points per game to the opposing point guard. And like I said, their defense is very, very bad. So that's Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell. So this is me not even looking at this before I said that. Want to pay it for Donovan Mitchell. How do we pay it for Donovan Mitchell? By using the two guys or similar guys in our lineup to build around. Now, we'll go to shooting guard here just to see if we're even close. Atlanta gives up the most, and I don't believe I said Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta's not playing. Washington's not playing. Utah, Dallas is playing. So Boston shooting guard would be Jaylen Brown, Derek White. You could look at them, 7,600. We could look at that. But, let's just take a look to see what Sacramento gives up just to this position. So we come here. Sacramento gives up an average of 44.1 fantasy points per game to the opposing shooting guards. And 44.1 at his price would be phenomenal. Not going to say he's going to get it, but this is how we build some lineups. Now, if you only build like 5 lineups, this might not be the way to build a lineup. But if you make like 10, 20 lineups in a given slate, you got to get creative when you're building those lineups. So this is one creative, basically tournament lineup that we build every single day. Mix and match, use your own information as well, but this is how we start off pretty much every single video. Or start off our research for that slate by building a lineup like this. So we move to the small forward position. We bring it to Washington's not playing, Utah's not playing, Toronto. Toronto is playing Golden State, small forward. Is it Klay? Now this is what we talk about. Klay Thompson is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. Still 5,800. Still, I think he should be priced down. But you had against Washington, which they are a very bad team, so don't use that just for that. But you look at Washington, he played 27 minutes in that game. He hit 6 of 11 threes, so he was on fire with threes, had at least 18 points out of there, had a total of 25 real points, 36.75 actual points. So in that matchup, if he were to get that price, he hit 6 times value there. So you would need a little bit more. And I don't know. Again, they've shown that if the game is kind of close, which this game right now, as of the making of this video, was only a 3-point spread. They take him out later in games. He's not who he was before the injury. He's not happy about it. Played 27 minutes that game, 31 the game before, and got 28.5. Played 21, 28, 28. So just seeing if he's played Toronto this year. Had 31 fantasy points on January 7th. So at his price, I don't mind him. And again, you put these 4 guys in this, you're at 6,900 as an average. So you can still technically pay up for one more stud and then find some more value if we need. So then let's just look at power forward to see who has had like Utah, Atlanta, Toronto. So Toronto, again, that's Golden State. Power forward, Draymond Green. Kuminga, let's see. Kuminga, 6,400, 35.5 fantasy points against Washington. So Washington, we know what we're getting out of Washington. They're a bad team. Played 28 minutes in that game. We were all over Steph in that game. We were not over anyone else on Golden State, and it screwed us over because it seems like everyone else had a really good game outside of Steph because he was so expensive. But just looking to see what he did against Toronto when they played them. 28 fantasy points, which would not be enough at 6,400. Draymond, we know what we're getting out of him. He's getting not very many points, but he's getting assists in games. But he is very expensive at 6,300. So let's take a look at what he did against Toronto. So if we look at this game, did he not play? Oh, is this when he was suspended? Might have been when he was suspended. Yeah. I don't think I want to pay up for Draymond. I think I'd rather put Marshall here at that price of 3,500 and still allow us to average 6,900 when we get to center and on for the other position. So we look at that. Portland gives up an average of 59.6 fantasy points per game. They are playing Memphis. That brings us Jaren Jackson Jr. Or we could look at Lamar Stevens. Game log wise, probably off of Lamar. Jaren Jackson makes sense. I love his matchup coming off 60 fantasy points. He's 7,700. That was against Minnesota. They ended up losing the game, but only by 9. The minutes are there. He's getting 30-plus minutes. At 7,700, it will bring down our average a little bit, but not much. And then we have free reign. So you could look at, like, again, a guard for either shooting guard or point guard. Let's say point guard because it seems like more points. Utah, Detroit, Charlotte, Milwaukee, Lakers, Portland. So Portland is here. Memphis point guard, or just Memphis guard. Vince Williams Jr., we look at that. He's got a good matchup here. The minutes are there. It's a couple of games, not so much. But if I throw him in there, we are still averaging 6,900 for a forward and a utility spot. So let's just move to forward. If you think power forward's going to get more points, let's just look. 52 here, 50, blah, blah, blah. We can look at that. So we look at Charlotte, giving up an average of 51 fantasy points per game. They're playing Philly. Philly for power for a forward. Are we looking at Tobias Harris? Game log wise, up and down. Like I said, I don't know if I love this matchup today, but you could definitely look at some value. Buddy Hield. We look at him, not much. So let's move to, so I don't really like this matchup. So I'm going to, and this is just another way you can do it, but I'm going to move down the list and find other ones that are playing. So Detroit. Detroit gives up an average of 50 fantasy points to the opposing power forward. So Cleveland, power forward, Mobley. We talked about that. Loved Mobley. Look at this. I want some Mobley. So then that brings us to a utility spot at 6,600. What can we do at 6,600 at a spot like this? Probably a lot. So let's go up utility. We go to all games. Let's just look at all games real quick for utility. 6,600. Again, you don't have to use every single dollar per day. So basically, Brandon Miller to down. Kuminga is in a good spot. Jacob Poeltl against Golden State. We look at him. Golden State against the center position. Gives up an average of 56.6 fantasy points. 56.6 would be perfect out of him. Minutes are there. He's back from injury. Jacob Poeltl. This is just one lineup. Again, stars and scrubs type lineup. You've got the stars of Donovan Mitchell, Poeltl, Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson. You've got the scrubs, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Najee Marshall. Klay Thompson has been a scrub lately. But yeah, I mean, some great matchups here. Some good value. Again, watch the value opening up when, you know, news and notes are out from, if we just look at like all the players, like the questionable, Ball's out, Embiid is out. We've got Fox is questionable. We've got Ayton is questionable. We've got Nesmith is questionable. With questionable guys, and more will probably pop up by the time you watch this video, that's where you can find some more value opening up. So again, we have a ton of information on the website, a lot of information in the description of this video, and that's what I've got. So good luck on this slate. Good luck. Hopefully you had a great leap day if you celebrated it. Hopefully you have a great Friday. We're going to move on into the weekend. We're going to have fun. We're going to be excited. Every day we move forward, we are closer to baseball. And that's our favorite sport here at FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So that's what I've got. Good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring them some bacon. Peace!